and the timeline of implementation has been kindergarten 2 years ago, first grade last year, and K through 12 blended this next year. So I can't speak for the reason the course has changed and the assignments changed and the information requested has changed, but it's not related to the Common Core state standards.
Okay, when I contacted FLBS with my concerns, because I was going to opt my children out of Common Core, they told me opting out was not an option, and that that the curriculum changes were in anticipation of adopting Common Core standards. So I've contacted FLBS, and this is what I've been told.
Thank you. First, let me address the issue about the information that you were requested when your kids registered. That has nothing to do with Common Core. That is information that we need to apply for federal grants. So that is what all that is. We know we don't serve lunch to your students, but in order for us to apply for some of the federal grants, we have to have the increased lunch information.
So Holly, before you move off of that, would you also address, when you collect that information for federal grants, do you provide that to the federal government, and if so, in what format? I.e., do you provide individual student information to the federal government?
It is just aggregated data in order for us to show the percentage of our population that is on free and reduced lunch.
And I think you even recognize the fact that some of that, there were some things that was collected that didn't seem to fit. Can you reiterate those?
Whether or not my children would qualify for a reduced lunch program.
Yeah, that would be appropriate. Yeah, that would be appropriate. But there were some others that you mentioned that...
Voting history.
Voting history. Voting
That
history doesn't seem to make
I'm
sense to me.
I am not aware of that. So the other thing I'm going to do is after we get done here, if I can get your name, I'm going to try to get somebody connected with you.
And I assume there are other parents in the room, and I'd like Fred Hyde to address. We don't collect that kind of information in the Duval County school system, I would assume.
We maintain records in regards to student demographic information, but again, even in the application of federal programs and grants, we don't provide student-level data. There are rules and policies that are guided by FERPA that preclude us from doing so, and in the instance where that information is crucial to be shared, there's password protection, and there are rights and responsibilities that we must comply with in order to ensure that we protect that information, but we've never asked for any voters.
Okay, so I have two questions in regards to that. First of all, is it true that the government can withhold federal monies to public education systems if they do not sign up for Common Core? Is that true?
Federal dollars are not tied to Common Core in any way.
Wait a minute.
I'm sorry, didn't hear.
Raise to the top.
Race to the Top was something that we applied for, just as Holly mentioned about applying for federal grants. That was certainly something that we elected to do as a state, and after having done that, we could apply for Race to the Top and receive additional federal dollars. But the standard federal dollars that come into the school districts and to the state had nothing to do with Common Core state standards.
But the state of Florida education system can be denied grants if they do not adopt Common Core. Is that what I'm hearing?
The only one that I know of for certain, I'm hoping Mary Jane can help me, was Race to the Top. It's the only grant that was tied.
The second concern that was raised.
Really quick, I'm sorry, I just wanted to add that there are 23 states that were not awarded Race to the Top funds, but they still chose to adopt Common Core state standards voluntarily.
Right.
So it wasn't like the federal government told every state you have to do this, whether or not you like it or you don't get dollars. It was voluntary, and it so happened that Florida chose to pursue that grant.
Right. Dang carrot. I did have one other concern. You said that information is collected, but it's not necessarily assigned to an individual, and that family information is protected under FERPA rights. My concern with that is another thing that I've seen with FLBS, and that is advertising. All of a sudden, my kids are being told about their reading styles and their offering material, educational material based on the results of my children's surveys. Now, I'm sorry, I understand that the Department of Education needs to make money, and I understand that education needs to be funded because it is critical and vital for the benefit of society overall. But my kids are not a cash cow.
If you're receiving information from vendors that comes through Florida Department of Education, you need to make us aware of it, because that's not something that's part of
I
Florida
just,
Department of
I can address
Education.
that.
I think Florida.
Yes. Okay, I can address that. We are currently in the process of going through and upgrading our system so that our instruction can be more personalized based on a lot of those factors. And we do offer some supplemental type services that some parents have opted and asked for some information about. But if I can just speak with you, then I can get your information and we can make sure that you don't receive any of those types of emails.
that would be wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for coming tonight, for sharing those concerns. Those are very valid concerns. Thank you for speaking up. I do want to ask a question though of Fred, because I've heard this concern in other arenas where parents are concerned about the content that is contained in textbooks. And can you share with the people, especially the parents here tonight, if we have a parent who has a concern about the content in a textbook, who within Duval County Schools would they contact about concern?
Well, that would be me. So thank you very much for putting me out there. Once again, let me reintroduce myself, Fred Hyde, Chief Academic Officer, Duval County Public Schools. And I had the pleasure, and I've only been here 7 months, and my prior employer is sitting at the other end of the table. I did work for the Florida Department of Education proudly. So it's an interesting conversation tonight to be on the other end now as a district. But if a parent ever has concerns, and we get this, there arose in Duval County once I transitioned, quite interestingly enough. We had a lesson that was delivered that actually garnered national attention, and it was under the guise of students were asked to reflect on something, write down the prompt and the question, and then the teacher would engage the students in a dialogue about what freedoms were they willing to forfeit, if any. It really grew very quickly, rapidly. It was not the intent. It was an approved curriculum. All that information had been vetted previously, but it just shows you the power of social media. And quite honestly, as those issues came to our attention, we addressed them within 24 hours. We met with those parent constituent groups that were concerned. We addressed all the concerns. They were quite pleased with the manner in which we addressed it. Actually, the principal of the school is sitting in the back. I see Ms. Antoine here with us today. So she handled it in a very effective manner. But anytime there is a concern about a text or about a supplement, and those things come to our attention, we do vet the material and content. But quite honestly, with 17,000 employees, and I've heard examples shared before about the types of assignments and things and concerns as they relate to Common Core. And I think what needs to be recognized is there is the science of teaching and the art of teaching. And quite honestly, the science of teaching is what we provide, the pacing guides, the curriculum maps, and the standards. The art of teaching is the manner in which a teacher chooses to integrate and deliver that lesson. And at times, you have 17,000 individuals in our county alone. Someone may at times make a poor choice. And so what we try to do is vet lessons in that regard by having them turned in early and having them co-plan and at times co-deliver or co-teach instructions so that we know that it's an approved curriculum and content in this particular lessons that can, when it relates to politics, when it relates to religion, or whether it relates to human growth and development, we are extremely cautious about those areas in particular. But you may contact me.
Yes, my name is Ruth Lodge, and I'm happy to be a teacher in Duval County. I had a question concerning the curriculum. The Common Core standards are not necessarily the problem. Okay, they're very vague. They may be an improvement over past standards. It's really hard to tell. They're all in very beautiful language and things that we would hope for all our students. Unfortunately, in the last 17 years, I've seen my students, they just don't have what it takes. They're not learning anything. You can't engage them anymore. But in my question had to do with the curriculum. Where is the curriculum coming from? From my understanding, it's coming from the likes of Bill Ayers and Bill Gates
Right.
and a few others.
Saul Lizinski.
Because the Common Core tests, the Common Core standards to get into college are going to be related to certain information that the student must learn. That is going to be written not by the state, not by Duval County. It's going to be written on a national level. We are giving up our right for us